All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm excited today. This is a great episode. But before we get to that, the feedback that we've received thus far, phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The support and the some of the funny things that have been said, some of the funny messages, and we do look at them.
and before we get into today's subject, welcome. Where are we? Welcome to
we're in
Daddies on Duty.
Oh, Daddies on Duty. Right. We have this. This name.
Yeah, we have a name.
And you know what? It's well suited for what we're doing here, what we do, and what our new life is all about. We're Daddies on Duty. So welcome to Daddies on Duty. Right.
I'm Eliezer Marte.
I am Eric Martinez.
My husband.
And
Con los ojos de gatos.
And a few other things, but anyway, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
So today's episode, it's one that's near and dear my heart. Right? It's related to our foster, hopefully soon to be adopted son, Ethan, which is a funny story behind it because we get fostering is a very unique and interesting experience. Well, one of the things that they tell you when you're fostering a kid is that you can't post them anywhere, no social media. Their privacy is delicate. It's important, and must be kept hidden. Unfortunately for us, it's very difficult because between social media, between being out there. And we just want to share our experiences with him. And he loves the camera. So whenever we're doing anything, he just waltzes in. So everyone's always asking, hey, when did you guys have a baby? Who is this
that
kid?
Guy?
And then everybody else says, they said that he looks like me.
Some people say they look like me too. So it's like, is this another baby that came through surrogacy we didn't know about? Who is this guy? We have seen him for... ya 3 años, más de 3 años con ustedes. And that's the reality. We got to go back to May 4th of 2021.
2021, yes. It was, it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was a beautiful
day in the neighborhood. It was, starting spring. I'm not going to bore you with the details of how we got to that point, but just know that we were told about this young child months before. And
he didn't come by himself.
And he didn't come by himself. He came with a sibling who's no longer with us. But we're not gonna go over that because we can't discuss that. But so we were told that hey, there's this child who's not in the best of situation. We think he might be a good fit for your home, and we right away said yes because like we've said in multiple episodes, and they'll crucify us for we wanted a boy. So one day they call, and that's how fostering works. You get a call from one day to the next, and then boom, it's like the stork just dropped a kid at your door.
Well, obviously, prior to that, you have to go through a process of getting a license. You do a whole set of requirements.
We're not going on.
We're not going to go into the whole process.
We're getting on the day he arrived.
But just know that there's a process prior to having someone placed in your home.
You had to be approved. It's like a pre-approval for a loan, but just clear to care for a child.
Yeah.
So he waltzed in.
Well, the first thing is that I actually have, and I'm gonna put that in here. I have a video and the sound of us waiting for him to come that day.
So we're peeking at the camera. We're peeking at the Ring camera at that point because now we recently changed. And then here comes this oversized baby, right? That's what he looked like. He looked like an oversized baby, and with his older sister. So he waltzes in, and the moment when we opened the door, the first time we laid eyes on him, he smiled, right? He smiles and he just says,
mind you, he came with dirty diapers.
Yeah, he came with like a, we're not going to go into the details.
Situation.
He comes in with this full diaper, like an oversized, because he was a little chunky.
Yeah.
Full-size baby in a little man bun, and he just smiles and says like, hi. He doesn't say hi, but he just smiles. And then we have a lot of lights in our place, and he just says, ugh. He says he's mesmerized by
the lights.
The lights. And in that moment, that day started our journey with Ethan. But at that moment was the first time that our hearts were unlocked to this, new love, a new unrestricted love for another human being.
And we didn't even know what we're going to get ourselves into. I mean, when you go through the training, they'll tell you different scenarios, las cosas que pueden pasar, how things can go. But then, trust and believe you don't get prepared for what comes when you decide to do fostering, especially us, that our intentions from the beginning have been to adopt, and that's where we're going now. We are going through the process of adopting him and him officially becoming a Marte Martinez. Pero no te preparan.
Yeah, so
no te preparan.
We mentioned in the previous episodes how the planning, right, with Catalea, from the financial to the getting things together. There was no planning here. This was like, he's coming tomorrow. Let's rush to the store and get him whatever he needs. And here we are. Here we are 3 years later. 3 years later. How would you describe the experience?
Well, if surrogacy is an emotional roller coaster, this is an entire theme park. Esto es la feria de juego completo. Porque one thing for sure is that you always know this is not your child yet. And at any point, he can be taken away from you.
Yeah.
Porque obviamente el sistema, el Estado, la responsabilidad principal es que el padre, la madre o los padres biológicos pues puedan arreglar cualquier situación que fue la razón por la cual los niños fueron removidos, y que cuando ellos pues ya puedan estar en un let's say when they are able to take care of the kids, the state can always take them back to them. Yes. So that's always there.
No, that's always there. And one of the things that they always tell you, que te dicen, in fostering, they always ingrain in your head,
these are not your kids.
These are not your kids. Eso no son tus hijos. But I can tell you right now, from day one, we never looked at him or never treated him as if he was not our child.
For some reason.
Or he was not a part of this family. We were always cognizant that might happen. And in all honesty, if his biological parents got their shit together tomorrow, you know what? Here you go. Here's your child. We're so happy. Whatever is in his best interest, whatever is good for him, that's what we go for.
Always be there for him.
We'll always be there for him. Even if this wouldn't go through, we're hopeful that it would. But even if it doesn't go through, we want what's best for him.
And his biological sister.
Yeah, and his biological sister. And again, this has been a whole theme park for you. This is not an emotional roller coaster. Yeah. This is all the rides, unlimited. But yeah, no, this experience, you describe it as a theme park.
As a theme park, because as I mentioned, number one, they tell you these are not kids. They can be taken away from you. But also the challenges, the trauma that unfortunately, in a situation like Ethan, he brought along because of his previous life, the situation that he was in. So that it's something that we are constantly working on to make sure that he gets the best possible life, the best life possible, I meant to say. And I would say that just seeing him grow, and when he came, just like you mentioned, he came when he was 1 year and 11 months. Y él solamente miraba las luces y no decía nada. Él decía, which by the way, tuvimos que llevarlo a diferentes doctores para asegurarnos de que él estuviera bien, si necesitaba algún tipo de ayuda también, para que estuviera, like you say in English, meeting your goals and your developmental goals, right? Yeah. So creo que el verlo crecer y verlo como desde un principio, he felt like he was part of this home. Oh yeah, that was beautiful. La foto que tenemos this will always be, his home. You talk a lot, about fostering and, the challenges. There's some people it's for you, some people it's not for you. I can tell you, it's not for us because we're too invested. Yeah. We are too invested. And, it's interesting because I wasn't sure how we were going to feel, bringing in, kids, to our home. And I can tell you, it doesn't feel much different. I'm going to emphasize on the love that you feel for kids who enter your home, especially when they come, when they come in with a difficult situation and background where you are, in their eyes, their savior. Their hero.
You're the hero. You can be, because some people are not everyone, but that look of hope, and and it warms me up today just thinking about it, of how, how just seeing him, grow. But progressively, they're hit certain milestones that for others might be so simple. But he wasn't the same. He was also a COVID baby, so there was some challenge with that too. But the moment he walked into when he said his first word, we lived everything you can live as a parent with this child, and I can share that with the public too. That's something no one can take away.
No one can take it away.
He needed surgery early on. Taking him to surgery, being there through his recovery and healing, working through his traumas, his emotions, but also being the gatekeeper of his story, his unique story, and all the challenges that he's faced and that he will face down the line has made this. And we talked the last was about emotional journey. This
do you think this one has been more of an emotional journey
Absolutely.
than surrogacy itself?
Absolutely,
I think so too. And know why? Because at the same time that we are seeing him grow, how he's part of this family, we have been up to this point now that he's going through the adoption process. And mind you, even now that he has been moved to the adoption unit, he can be taken away at any time because he hasn't been finalized, right? Yeah. If the biological parents get their together.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, here's.
But before I lose the train of thought, why is this more of a roller coaster than the surrogacy process? Porque si bien él está creciendo en nuestra casa, we have also been battling with when he needs to go to court. Every time there's a hearing, what's going to happen then? What have they said? And the chances, and obviously, like I said, the priority has always been that he's reunified with the biological parent. So they always kept on giving chances, right? Because that's a priority. Mm-hmm. So el tener esa constancia ahí has been always there. So what's going to happen? And dealing with that. Y yo creo que lo más fuerte de todo esto ha sido eso. When we know there's a court hearing, because we don't know what's going to happen at that court hearing.
Well, here's the best way that I can describe it, right? And I mean, judge me if you want. I don't care. Yeah. For me, fostering, we used to call it, over here it's called like DC something, whatever. And back in the day, it was called Child Protective Services. Mm-hmm. The best way that I can describe it is that it's Parent Protective Services. If one thing we've learned throughout this whole process is that it has nothing to do with the child. So for us as parents,
and this is from
this is our perspective.
This is what we have lived.
From our perspective, we live daily the emotions and the trauma and what these kids go through. And I don't blame any other workers because I know that you guys have your own challenges and that the system is very difficult. But I don't think they get enough resources too. But we're there. And, it's unfortunate that throughout this whole process, they're the ones who suffer. And by default, we suffer because we love them. We love them and we want them to thrive and do great. And the system is not designed to do or provide that for them. So in a world where we're providing stability and, fostering love and a great, inclusive environment, they're then faced with that harsh reality that kind of, sets them back. So those are some of the challenges that, that we face through fostering, but we do it and we've done it because of the love that we have for this little, we call him our little Tasmanian devil.
And just like many other parents, we have questioned so many times whether we want to keep on doing it. We're like, that's it. This is going to be the day. If nothing gets done during this court hearing today, we are going to say no more. But then again, we see this little boy looking at us and we're like, we cannot do this.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
And we will not do it. We would definitely not do it now. We didn't do it at the beginning. But because those challenges, like you said, the system, unfortunately, has so many challenges, the system itself, that it doesn't, as foster parents, the intention of finally adopting the child becomes really difficult because they always trying to just help the biological parents.
Yeah.
At least that's what we have learned. We have experienced.
Yeah. And, it does make you angry, right? Because it kind of raises that good old question of like, what is a parent? What makes up a parent? Because we're faced with that daily, even when it comes to, to Catalina and with Ethan, that we shouldn't be parents, right? That we shouldn't be parents. Now, knowing what you know today, living this experience with Ethan, with Catalea was day to day, how would you respond to that?
I think the best example is we have two extremes, right? We have Catalea that came through surrogacy. We decided to have Catalea. It's something that we wanted from the beginning. We chose that. Ethan came into our lives because we decided to be foster parents, right? But take a look at this. Ethan came from heterosexual, obviously from a traditional home, from a mom and from a dad. He didn't receive that love in that home. Unfortunately, he came from a really bad home, right? He was placed here where two Latinos, gay dudes are giving him the best love he can possibly get because we are doing the best and even more for him.
We'll go above and beyond for sure.
Right? So how do I feel about that? Love is where there is love, basically. And we're doing it with Catalea and we're doing it with Ethan. Yeah. And for those that say that we are not equipped to be dads, I think that's the question. So who is equipped to, or not dads, to be parents? We're not equipped to be parents. So who's equipped to be parents? Because he came from a home where there was a mom and there was a dad. So who's the one that's equipped? There goes your perfect answer there.
Who is equipped? I think that all families are made up differently. I can tell you, like one of my oldest nieces, I love her very much. She was raised with us, my mom, my brother, myself. You have families, you have grandparents, you have families that are two males, two females. It could be an aunt, an uncle. It could be like a kinsman. Who knows? It's funny. I was faced with that question when my daughter was younger. And they say that kids, oh, you can't, you're doing these things to kids. My daughter asked me that question. You're, the whole gay thing. I gave her a very response. Families are all made up differently. And she was okay. I said, I just know that at the end of the day, you are loved. And she was perfectly fine. But I want to give a little response to the same question that I asked you. When you live, and I can say this, we can say this, when you lived what we've lived through with Ethan, we have been there through the good. We have been there through the bad. We have been there through the worst. We have been there through the storm, which is, we have been there. We have shown him love. We have treated him with love and respect. But nonetheless, we've lifted him from the floor, and we're always there, and we will always be there. That's parenting. And and I want to be very, I want to point that out, that when you show up for your kids, when you're there and you're dedicated and you dedicate yourself to your kids, that is parenting. So I'm not saying that, between being a homosexual, relationship or whatever the case may be, I say that is what parenting is, showing up for your kids. Yeah. And that's something that we've, I think, excelled in with all our kids. We show up.
And of course, some people may argue that it's not the fault in this case of the biological parents of Ethan, right? Maybe they're going through certain things that it's not helping them. It's preventing them from being the best parents possible. Yeah. Because some parents do face challenges. How's that Ethan changed your life?
You know what? I have to tell you, and anyone who knows me personally knows that I love this kid to the moon and back. Like, we have a unique relationship where, first things first, I am a parent, obviously, but we play, we hang out. He's like my little buddy, He's my little buddy who follows me around. As you know, he's glued to me.
Because he sees you more of the playful dad. I'm more of estas son las reglas. I need to make sure that you do it well in school. You follow the instructions. Yeah. Contigo él se tira, se de patilla.
We play, we wrestle, we go out. But you know what? There's a bond there. There's a relationship there. And again, I can say this because we've all been through it, but, I take his well-being seriously, and it affects me, and going back to what you said before, we don't blame, his parents. We don't blame his parents. I do believe, and I've said it before in one of the other episodes, that parents do the best that they can with what they have. And it's our wish and anyone's wish that, you hopefully get together. We think it's important for you to, for you to know your family. And we even said it before too. If his mom, even down the line, let's just say he does get adopted, we're more than happy to tell him his story and expose him to his family, because who are we to rob anyone of that? We've always said that.
And we are going to be always open.
And we're always open.
With Cataleya, with him, just like Leia has her process, Ethan has his own personal process, and we are always going to be open. I think it is extremely important to be open, to have the conversation. I don't think it does any good to keep things hidden from kids, right?
It does no good. I think like going back to generations, some of the older generations, like that was their thing, hide everything.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't say you're adopted. Don't say you're...
Keep the family secrets hidden, but that's not, that's not the way that we go. But I mean, my relationship with him, I personally, I love that kid. Before Cataleya was born, and even during the whole pregnancy process, I questioned myself, thinking there's no way my heart is capable of allowing that much more love into it. And then it's just amazing how the heart expands.
It just expands.
It just expands. And everything we've done, it is to include him too. But, it's amazing how you have so much to give. And, when he, early on, when he first came in, I mean, he's a character. And even today, he is a character. But I'm happy to report that he's in really good shape, way too much of good shape.
And just seen him with Cataleya. I mean, he went to Colombia, with us. He was there for the birth, not in the actual room. He was waiting outside. When he met Cataleya for the first time, just seen him and Cataleya bond together, how he's the big brother. He has él asumido su role as a
superhero big brother.
He's a superhero big brother. Dad, Leia is crying. Dad, Cataleya is
I don't
sleeping.
even know how
Dad,
he hears her, but he's the first one to hear her
every night.
Yeah.
His every night he goes, what is it this time?
He wakes up in the middle of the night and he'll say, what's going on here? What's going on here? With his little man voice. What's going on here? But, to answer your question, to answer our question from the beginning, who is that kid? He is a beautiful, amazing, smart 4-year-old who, in his own little crazy way, has, really given, he's really taken us for a drive.
Well, he's 5 now.
No, he's turning. He is 5. No, he is 5. Right. Sorry. I still see him as 2. He's changed our lives. And it's, they say, you guys have done so much good for him. No, he's done so much good for us. For us. And we are hopeful that he remains a part of our family. And even if he doesn't, he will always be, and will always be in our, our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers. But we'll always be there to support him in whatever way we can, if possible.
And I think that he actually helped us become better parents for Cataleya. For sure. I changed my first diaper with Ethan. Eso fue una cosa. Cuando yo vi ese diaper lleno de caca, yo dije, Dios mío. Esto es una explosión volcánica. I was like, how do you do this?
Yeah, no, that was bad. I will never forget. I have a video. I have the video. It was, I mean, he's since day one, he's had like grown man poop.
Yeah, grown man poop. And
those are logs in there. It's disgusting. Sorry.
Cuando la gente, talking to people that know the story of Ethan, friends and family, we said it before, we open. They realize, so when would you tell them about his story? When are you going to talk about Ethan? When would you tell Ethan about where he comes from? And I asked you that the other week. How are we going to approach Ethan? You came from, you were a foster child that we, let's say we did adopt you. How do we answer that sort of thing?
Well, I think that, I think there's no such thing as when are you going to tell him. His story is forever, like it's always been written. It's ever evolving. And I think that there's things that kids should be privy to in conversation that they can handle. And it's just a matter of you putting them into their perspective, their terms. But I think we will always share with him his story. I think to go into the depth of his true story, that's something that has to wait till he has some more, a bit more age. And we're saying, here's all the details. But, but I think that, it's fortunately and unfortunately, in some cases, his story started here. The fact that he's been here since he was a year and 11 months, there's not much to his story. His story is primarily, here. So, one of the other things too of being prepared for the, being prepared with how he's prepared us. I think he's also prepared us for a lot of the comments and a lot of the criticism that we have faced over the past few years. And you're actually what's the correlation there? I think that for me personally, I've developed a very tough skin when people say things, because when people say things about, oh, you want to be parents now or whatever else, and I'm like, listen, there's nothing you can say. We've been parents.
We just don't say it.
We don't say it.
Now lately, people know more about Ethan.
Yeah, we don't say it. And trust me, the struggles that we've been through as parents, I'm not undermining what others have been through, but what I can tell you is that they've been serious, and they've been true things that have been very difficult to handle. And I think we've done a phenomenal job. But I think at the end of the day, that is, like I said before, parents are being there, showing up, being protectors, and fostering love in a home. And then we're not fostering a child; we're fostering love for another individual. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Una de las cosas que yo pienso mucho, and I'm always thinking about this, is in the future, I'm sure Ethan's probably gonna ask us. I'm thinking the future because I don't see him. I don't see this house without Ethan, right? So if we think of Ethan telling us, "Wait, pero Cataleya came one way, I came another way. So am I you? Am I your son? Like, am I you guys' son? Like Cataleya is, or are you ready for that?"
I'm ready for that. I think that they both came the same way. They were both planned for, and they were both wished for. They were both wanted. And I think at the end of the day, especially when it comes to foster and adoptees, they want to make sure that they're wanted. Yes, a lot of it has to do with their own family, but I think that a lot of things here overshadow the bad. Ethan lives a very, very good life. He does. And I'm not saying that it's the monetary value and the support that we provide him. It's that he has a true community of people that support him. I think that it also has to do with the fact that he's a child. He gets to be a child. He gets to enjoy his childhood. He laughs, he cries, he feels. I think that forget about, yes, all those other things are important, but the fact that he's getting to live a true life that even some of us were robbed of. I mean, I'm sure, in your case too, there were things that you dealt with as a kid that you shouldn't have been, faced with early on. But thankfully, he's in a place now that, he has everything that he needs and some, from his new family to his community, to his school. And, he has all these people who are involved and invested. And what more can you ask for? What better recipe is there out there to ensure a child's success?
And I'm sure one of the things that we get people, one of the things that people ask us a lot, especially if you read my book Confidencias, is what happened with Ethan's biological sister. And now, knowing that she's no longer here, people are asking, what happened to her? Are you guys going to have Ethan keep a relationship with her?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. Yes, we are open to that. We would love for them to keep in touch. They have seen each other virtually. They're not in the same country. So we are always open to that.
Now, we are open to that. We are open to anything and everything that is going to ensure his well-being, both mentally, physically, emotionally. And it's not just him or our kids, but him in specific. We're open to that. I think we also mentioned it in another episode. We used to watch that show, Long Lost Family, and like I said, the kids who fared out well, who fared out the best, were those who were always aware, those who knew where they came from, and things were well. So.
Well, cheers to that. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Why not?
To love.
Well, I can't reach, but you have to help me here.
To being open about that.
Mine's a little less right now.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
And would you? And I know the answer, but I want people to know the answer. Are we willing to do fostering again?
Absolutely not. No. We said from day.
However,
one.
if this is something within you that you want to give love and a home to a child that needs love and protection, go ahead
Right.
and do it for yourself, as in try it for yourself. Based on our experience, we wouldn't do it
No,
again.
we wouldn't do it. If you do it, go in there doing it to help someone else.
Yeah.
Now, but I do want to say, although we would never do it again, we would never go back in time and
And not
change
do it.
things and not do it. It's just that and I think it's important to be informed of, why you're doing things. And it's something that I always told you throughout this journey is that we were not doing this to start a family. Although we, in the back of our head,
I did.
you did, yes.
I'm honest.
Yes.
I did it because I wanted to start a family.
Yes.
I knew that it was to help a child
Yes.
in need, which it was completely fine with me, and that's the motivation, the reason behind it. But I also wanted to start my
Yes.
family.
If you tailor your expectations and really redirect yourself, recenter yourself, if you do this, truly do it to help someone, and if that's the ultimate goal, and if that happens, great. But just don't put don't think don't do it just for that, because that's when you're let down, and that's why we went through so many emotions. But at the end of the day, I will say this. Although we always knew we were going to do, that's what pushed us to do it sooner.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Surrogacy.
like I said, all things, they happen for a reason. So,
With
on that
being-
note,
on that note, I think it's to sum this up here, right? We are hopeful Ethan will stay forever here. We are hopeful he will grow with Cataleya and
Yes.
our future child, if that is God's plan. And for now, we are enjoying his presence here. We give him all the love that he needs. Ethan is someone very special to us.
Yes.
And we are hopeful that he will come and Marte Martinez.
Ethan, a.k.a. Itanini,
Itanini.
or El Italiano, we call him, but he's good.
With that, thank you so much for listening,
everyone.
for watching. Make sure you suscribirte en nuestros canales, follow us on social media, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Hear us next time. We'll talk next time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Daddies.